Hey everyone, welcome to Anatomy of a Movie News. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, and I want to talk about something really interesting, which is the Hunger Games salute is being used to protest a military coup in Thailand. Which the salute, I don't know if everyone is familiar, but it's the three-finger salute that they do.
Show you.
Yes.
You know.
And it's being used because during gatherings, the silent voice to show displeasure over the last month's takeover, resulting in strict curfew, media censorship, and public political demonstrations. And it's just interesting when pop culture really influences something very serious happening in countries. So the Hunger Games is not only a book and a movie, but it is real life now.
I feel like typically we kind of see it work the other way around, where we get movies and we're like, oh, this is symbolic of what's happening in this country. Mm-hmm. And in this scenario, it's really taking something that existed in fiction and bringing it to real life and giving it an actual purpose. And to me, that's just so crazy. And the fact that, in Thailand, there is a problem with media censorship, and now they're using part of the media to react. I think it's very powerful, and it's really giving that symbol so much weight.
Yeah, they've been saying it's the three values could be liberty, equality, fraternity. Others say it's freedom, election, and democracy. They are really taking it and making it mean something to them, which is really, really cool.
And it's been taken very seriously. People are getting arrested for multiple people using this salute. When they use it in gatherings, when it is shown as a protest, just this one symbol that came from a movie is causing people to get arrested.
Wow, it's imitating art. That's interesting. All right, and our second piece of news, TMZ released spoiler pics of the Star Wars set. Yes, I mean, anyone who's a big Star Wars fan, I'm sure is pretty excited, such as myself. They released a bunch of around 45 to 50 photos, a lot. And they're currently filming in Abu Dhabi. And one of the photos, it looks like they're filming a scene in the Tatooine marketplace. And one of the creatures, in one of the photos, there's a creature. And it's actually manned by 5 gentlemen inside, and they're saying that they're kind of going away from the CGI look and basing it off of practical effects like the original Star Wars. So I'm really excited to see the whole film, how it's being all made, and it looks like everybody's having fun. And then there was also other pictures that were released of the X-Fighter, the X-Wing fighter, and also another photo of the Millennium Falcon.
So we can check them out on TMZ.
TMZ.
They must be having some good undercover people over there.
Yeah, they have some serious connections. And then, of course, in other Star Wars news, they just casted Lupita Nyong'o from 12 Years a Slave and Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. And Sarah, you're a fan of Game of Thrones.
I'm a fan of both these people. I'm so excited. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So bringing on all these great actors, just making the film more enticing. I don't know how much more excited people can get, because it's been everywhere for months, and just stories keep coming out, photos, rumors, and they just keep expanding, and we haven't even actually seen anything concrete yet. To add on to Lupita being cast, there's also another standalone movie being made. So about 2 weeks ago, we found out that Godzilla director Gareth Edwards was getting a standalone Star Wars film, and now Josh Trank, who directed Chronicle, is set to do the Fantastic Four reboot. He's getting a standalone. So we haven't seen anything yet in years since we saw the prequels, and we have 2 standalones by different directors, and then J.J. Abrams doing his trilogy. So it seems like we have 5 Star Wars movies.
Craziness up in here.
It's blowing up. I mean, I think that it's in part to Disney's trying to get their money worth out of this big investment. And they're like, how quickly can we get these things going? You just hope that, it seems like with these photos that they are putting the time and the quality into it, and they're really making that effort. So I hope these other 2 directors that get their standalone films put in the time to do these. I know there's pressure because everyone wants it so bad, but I'd rather get a movie 2 years later and have it be amazing than something that's all CGI'd, really you don't want it to feel forced
and rushed. And I love how Star Wars is staying relevant even nowadays, because it came out years ago, decades ago. But I love how they're building and making new films for the new generation.
Yeah, it's cool. And in other news, Will Smith is set to play a doctor in Sony's football concussion drama called Game Brain. And what I think is really interesting about this is that the concussion, because there have been so many lawsuits against the NFL, concussions are a big deal right now in Hollywood, which I think is a little surprising, but also kind of cool because it is a really important issue. And Will Smith last week pulled out of the legendary sci-fi film Brilliance, which was a shocker, but is now set to be in Game Brain, which is Sony and Scott Free's film. And he's going to be playing the doctor, and they're going to try and make it in the vein of The Insider. That's going to feature Will Smith's character as a whistleblower caught between ethical obligations and the hard realities of professional sports. So we'll see how this one actually gets made, because I think it's a tricky subject to put in a film. And there's a lot of lawsuits happening and a lot of science happening around concussions in sports, and we'll see how it translates in the film.
It's such a broad story. I mean, as you said, concussions and the medical care, especially of professional athletes, has been a debate, but a very hushed debate for years. And to kind of tackle that story on so many levels, where you have to show how they're showing it in the media, you have to show how these players are being affected, and you have to show, as you said, the science, the business end. There's a lot that's going into this, which is why we haven't heard so much about it. But I think that it could be a very strong film, and I think that it's an important subject.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I like how they're touching upon that, because everyone needs to know the seriousness of all that can lead to.
Mm-hmm.
And in other news, a PBS animation team released a animation film with Philip Seymour Hoffman's voice. It's about personal happiness. Now, we know the late actor recently passed away in this year's February 2nd, and it was recorded December 22nd, 2012, so a little bit over a year before his death. But it has his voice, and he's talking about his views on pleasure, happiness, and family, and how it relates to his life and other people's life. So I find it fascinating how, even though he's gone, he still has a posthumous statement, and that translate to everybody about life and wisdom.
It's interesting.
I'm sure that's crazy for his family to hear at this point, taking everything that's happened. But maybe it'll help them get some closure or whatnot. But I'm probably going to watch it. He's a fantastic actor. And
Yeah, I think it'll be really sad, actually.
Yeah.
to just a quick piece of news. Also, Nia Vardalos is planning a sequel. Everyone get excited. So this is the sequel to My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I was a huge fan of this when it came out. I come from a very big family. They're not Greek, but they're ginormous, and getting people to be approved and fit in. I think this will be fun. John Corbett's set to return, and the first film made $368 million at the box office on a $5 million budget. So The first one was a big hit. So what are you guys thinking about the second one coming out?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think people are excited, and I want to see what she does with the story and what family members come back. I heard they were all invited by her, so that's awesome. And another big movie, The Fault in Our Stars, is breaking more and more records, you guys. It has now broken Fandango's record for biggest pre-sale of any movie, and it was the company's 14-year history. And The Vow, which was a 2012 romantic comedy with Channing Tatum and Rachel McAdams, previously held the record, and it grossed $41 million at the box office domestically. And Fault in Our Stars will be coming out on Friday, and I'm sure you can see it midnight in a lot of places on Thursday. So the pre-sales are selling out, and The Fault in Our Stars has a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's not even out yet.
Wow.
I mean, I'm going to lead this into kind of the box office, but I think we're going to see a huge change next week. I think Fault of Our Stars is going to take over, being that it does have this 91% already. This week we saw Maleficent hold the number one spot. It got $69.4 million, but it's only at a 50% rating.
Oh, wow.
So I think Fault of the Stars is going to come up with some big competition for Maleficent. Second place went to X-Men Days of Futures Past. It does have 92. It's doing really well, 32.6 this at the box office. Then A Million Ways to Die, followed by Godzilla, and followed by Blended.
And we will be covering this week on Anatomy of a Movie, Maleficent. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, go see it, because we're going to be covering it on Friday. And I just want to run through Cannes real quick, get everyone caught up on what happened. The Palme d'Or, which is the biggest award that you can win there, was won by a Turkish film. It was a surprise winner called Winter's Sleep. And Best Director went to Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher. And Best Actress went to one of my favorites, Julianne Moore, for Maps to the Stars.
She's incredible.
She's
I'm
awesome.
so excited to see all of these movies, particularly hers because I'm a big fan. I think that going back to even like the hours, she's great.
Yeah, and a lot of movies from Cannes were bought, so we will be seeing distribution of them in the U.S. And if you guys want us to cover one of the films from Cannes, please let us know. We will get a hold of it and cover it for you. So for Anatomy of a Movie. And thanks for watching Anatomy of a Movie News. We'll see you here next week.